Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Wednesday Word. I'm Julie, and today we're in our second week of our series called Road to the Cross, which means that until Easter, we're going to be talking about the different things that Jesus went through before he actually got to the cross and his crucifixion and then rose from the dead. So last week we learned about the Last Supper, which was awesome from Jeff to learn about how to take the communion that we use to remember Jesus. He told us, do this in remembrance of me. How do we make that personal? And what does it mean to us? So this week we're on the next step where after supper, Jesus takes his disciples and goes to pray in the Garden of Gethsemane. This is one of my favorite passages in this story. This is one of my favorite stops on the road not because it's fun or, we know it has a happy ending eventually, but just because this part is the most human and the most relatable to me. I love seeing the emotion and the drama of this part, the fact that there is so much love, there's so much passion, there's so many feelings going on in this section. It really just stops me in my tracks and it gets me every time. So Jesus is in the garden and it actually says as usual. So that means that Jesus does this often. And he brings some of his disciples and they're there and they're so tired. I'm guessing because of what they ate. It was a lot of food, probably a lot of emotion even then in the Last Supper. But they were so tired that they fall asleep. And Jesus is there and I love this about Jesus. He's not shy about his emotion, about what he's thinking or feeling. So it says that he's praying and he's so stressed out that he's sweating blood. He's basically doing what we all do, which is sometimes we bargain with God or beg him, no, please don't make me do this. No, you have to, there's got to be another way. And Jesus does this too. He actually calls God Abba, Father, which means daddy, and is begging him, I'll do anything else. Take this cup from me. And God says nothing that we can hear, nothing that's written down, but Jesus knows this is it. This is what I have to do. And he actually prays 3 different times, and each time he comes back, the disciples are asleep because they're so human. They're just stuffed and they're tired and they don't understand what's happening. So Jesus goes back and prays, and then he comes back again. And he's done praying, and it's time for the next thing, and that is to be arrested. So he's there, and he actually, I'm going to read this part to you from Matthew 26. It actually says, then he returned to the disciples and said to them, are you still sleeping and resting? Look, the hour has come, and the Son of Man is delivered into the hands of sinners. Rise, let us go. Here comes my betrayer. While he was still speaking, saying that, Judas, one of the 12, arrived. With him was a large crowd armed with swords and clubs sent from the chief priests and the elders of the people. Now the betrayer had arranged a signal with them. The one I kiss is the man. Arrest him. Going at once to Jesus, Judas said, greetings, Rabbi, and kissed him. Jesus replied, do what you came for, friend. Oh, yikes. Then the men stepped forward, seized Jesus, and arrested him. With that, one of Jesus' companions reached for his sword, drew it out, and struck the servants of the high priest, cutting off his ear. Now we think that guy might be Peter, because Peter is one of the most impulsive and passionate for Jesus and would do something like that. Put your sword back in its place, Jesus said to him, for all who draw the sword will die by the sword. Do you think I cannot call on my Father and he will at once put at my disposal more than 12 legions of angels? But how then would the scriptures be fulfilled that say it must happen in this way? So even Jesus knows that he could just snap his fingers and it would be done. But he can't. He has to go through this. And what I love about this part, oh my God, I can't believe he was betrayed with a kiss. It's so intimate. Judas had to look Jesus in the face, get close to him. He could have changed his mind at any time, but he still did it. He got that close, kissed Jesus, and knew what he was doing. And then Peter, one of the disciples, just freaks out and just slashes off the ear of one of the soldiers because he loves Jesus. He's trying to protect him. He's doing anything he can to stop this nonsense. And Jesus says, no, stop it. That's not what we're doing here. I have to do this. Just all of the things that are going on just show that there's so much love, there's so much confusion, there's so much passion that's going on with this group of people. And it's just an intense part of this story, but it shows that these guys were so confused. They wanted to do the right thing. They wanted to take care of Jesus, and they just didn't know how. And then right after this, actually, a lot of them flee and leave him. And he goes off to Pilate and does the next thing on the road to the cross. They're so torn, just as we are. And Jesus knew that, and he still went through with this, even though he knew how hard it was going to be, even though he knew he could have stopped it at any point, just because these guys never got it. They were with him for 3 years. They saw everything he did, everyone he touched, every word he said, and they still didn't get that he had to do this as the Son of God. And Jesus could have just said, I'm fed up, but he never did. He loves each of us the same way. He never gets fed up with us. He did this for you and for me. And so I hope that you'll consider that this week. Really think about the love that God has for us, that Jesus has for us, even though we're flawed and we'll never really get it. He loves us so much. Thank you so much for watching.